Hey folks, this is Kalani. A lot has changed going into this week. We have some auction house changes that have set a few forums on fire. There's a new patch coming for Battle for Azeroth, which you really shouldn't get too excited about. Jaina's mount will be easier to acquire, and we have some more info about the corruption vendor rotation. Before we jump in, be sure to pop by our live stream sometime over at twitch.tv/KalaniTV. We go live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday and Saturday at 12 PM PST, and swinging by and saying hi is one of the best ways you can support the channel and everything we do right now, so I hope to see you soon. Let's talk about those auction house changes first, because this is going to affect everyone in one way or another. There are definitely two sides to this story. The chaps who use the auction house every now and then to pick up something they need or want, and then the guys and gals who spend all day on the auction house using add-ons to streamline their buying and selling empire. There are those in between, of course, and it looks like the big line in the sand will be drawn between the players who use add-ons to do lots of stuff on the auction house all at once, and the players who don't. In a recent hotfix, Blizzard restricted how many queries you could send to the auction house servers before you get slowed down significantly. Every player is given a budget of actions, apparently set to about 25 or 30 actions per minute right now, and if you go past that, any future actions will take longer until your budget resets. That includes cancelling, posting, searching, all of that stuff. So if you wanted to post a bunch of items, the first 25 actions would go by as fast as possible, while anything after that would take a few seconds per post. That's what I've been experiencing personally, and it's what I've seen from looking through Reddit posts on the WoW subreddit and the WoW economy subreddit, where it's safe to say people really are not happy about this change. But bear in mind that this is an action budget, so looking up a price, posting an item, cancelling an item, they're all actions. To cancel and relist an item, you'd probably take a minimum of 3 actions per item. Cancel it, check the new price, and then post it at the new price. If you're doing that for a lot of auctions, you are going to hit your budget limits very quickly indeed, which will just slow down your auction house experience overall. So with this change in place, anyone who spends a significant amount of time at the auction house already will now be spending significantly longer doing the exact same thing. Everything will get slowed down if you're posting en masse. If you're an avid auction house or a goblin, this change is going to be very frustrating. The main reasoning for this change seems to be to remove the advantage that using auction house add-ons gives to certain players and to lighten the load on auction house servers to create a smoother experience for everyone, or at least everyone not using an auction house add-on. I actually fully expect that last part to work. If you remember back at the start of BFA, the auction house was abysmally slow, to the point where people started barking in trade again and vendoring items instead of selling them on the auction house because it literally just did not load sometimes. It was horrendous, and the huge revamp of the auction house plus these limitations should mean that can never happen again. So part of me does wonder if they're just preparing for Shadowlands to try and ensure that the auction house works as smoothly as possible, but I don't know if neutering the goblins is the right way to go about it. This could have some really weird knock-on effects. People have already been talking about reducing their overall stockpile of items because it's just not worth it to post them with the throttling in place. When you have hundreds, and I mean hundreds, sometimes thousands of transmog items, taking a couple of seconds for each of those items to post just is not worth it. That means some items could become more scarce and therefore more expensive. The markets this is going to hit really badly are the ones where you're posting a lot of different items like transmog and pets. If you're posting a lot of herbs, that shouldn't matter too much because it's the same item, but when you're posting hundreds of different items, you're going to get slowed down almost immediately. If you don't use the auction house too much, you shouldn't see too many changes. In fact, if you see anything at all, it's probably going to be that the auction house is a lot faster because you simply can't spam the auction house anymore, so it shouldn't ever slow down again. Personally, I haven't been using the auction house too much recently, but I always get my gold making groove on at the start of an expansion, and I'm really not looking forward to waiting 10 minutes or more to post just a handful of items. I typically go hard with enchants, herbs, potions, flasks, and raw materials. I might either have to cut back on some of that or literally just boot up my second account again for auction house stuff so I at least don't have to wait around on my main characters. I can send everything over to an auction house alt on a different account and just have them sit at the auction house all day again. Doesn't matter if they have to wait, I'm not going to be playing them anyway. That's not something I really want to do, but it is something I'm seeing a lot of in some of the WoW economy posts. Just make more accounts to completely bypass the limits. When that's the player's answer to this new change, I think you have a pretty big problem. The dev team did say that these numbers are a starting point and they're looking for feedback on this change and how quickly you might hit the current budget limits, and if it's too quick, they might increase it. So if you have some strong opinions on this, go voice your concerns on the forums. But remember to stay on topic and be constructive. Telling Blizzard to go boink themselves probably won't get you very far. Something else you might be interested in is the change to Mythic Battle of Desire Lore. I know you might be thinking, wait, hold on, that's a super old raid at this point, isn't it, Kalani? Patch 8.1 if I recall correctly, and you are in fact correct, my wonderful folks, but there's one thing that a lot of players still want from this raid. The Jaina mount. The Glacial Tidestorm might be one of the best looking mythic only mounts we've seen in a very long time. I mean, who doesn't want to ride around on an awesome semi-frozen water elemental? This is one for the mages to drool over specifically for sure, but it looks fantastic for any class in my opinion. The main problem with getting the Jaina mount was actually getting to Jaina. The Jaina fight is now much easier than it was thanks to gear. It's by no means a pushover, but the entire mythic raid of Desire Lore needed to be cleared to get to Jaina every single time. That takes time, energy, and patience. A single change today will throw all of that out of the window. Blizzard just added in an NPC that allows you to skip straight to Jaina, if you've killed her before on Mythic difficulty, so re-killing Jaina just became a 10-minute ordeal down from a few hours. Obviously if you don't have a Jaina kill under your belt already, you will have to do that first to take advantage of this, but hey, at least you won't have to re-clear the raid for re-kills, which is the important part here. That's pretty huge no matter who you are, and you can be sure that our guild will hop back to Desire Lore every week to try and get more of our raiders their mounts. The main thing stopping us was quite simply the time. No one wanted to sit through the entire raid again just for a chance at the mount at the end, and doing it every week was the big chore. Now we can skip straight to Jaina, and there's 2 mounts for every run. We'll all have the mount before you know it. If you have never done Mythic Jaina, you might also now be able to find a group for it easier after this change because, once again, you don't have to clear through any other part of the raid. If someone else in your group has a Jaina kill, you should be able to just hop straight to the end and work on Jaina instead of having to learn every single boss like you had to previously. This is a great change and I can't wait to pick up my mount. I wonder if they would ever extend this kind of treatment to older raids that have mounts to farm. Tempest Keep, Icecrown Citadel, Dragon Soul, Firelands, there are a lot of them out there and people are still looking for their invincible mount. If only it wasn't so hard to find. Do you think they should give us skips for other raids, or should this only be a one-off thing? Let me know what you think. It's not just old content that's on the news list this week, new content is on there as well. Sort of. And no, I'm not talking about the alpha for a change. We will in fact see another patch for Battle for Azeroth. Patch 8.3.7 will be up on the public test realm later this week. But before you get your hopes up, the dev team have specifically said this will not contain any actual content. This patch will only serve certain non-player facing changes that are required for Shadowlands. By the sounds of things, this will just be a bridge patch to help connect up several large system changes that will arrive in the Shadowlands pre-patch. Getting the bulk of that in the game files before the pre-patch lands could save the dev team a lot of time and effort later on down the road. I wish we could get the leveling changes specifically in an earlier patch, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see what this 8.3.7 actually contains. We know it won't give us anything new to do, but that doesn't mean that it won't still be important. I find it hilarious that they went with the label 8.3.7 though. I can just imagine them sitting around the dev table like, okay, alright chaps, we need to push another patch between patch 8.3 and patch 9.0, but what do we call it? What's wrong with patch 8.3.5? Well, we already told the players they wouldn't get an 8.3.5. We can't do a flipsy on them now, they'll think we're up to something. I've got it. 8.3.7. Genius. No matter how you look at it, this patch is a good thing. Patch 8.3.7 brings us one step closer to patch 9.0 and the Shadowlands pre-patch, which means we're one step closer to Shadowlands itself, and I can't wait for this expansion to launch. I haven't been this excited for a WoW expansion in a very long time. And then the last piece of info we have for today is the confirmation of the corruption vendor rotation by Blizzard themselves. It looks like they've pieced everything about the most recent changes in 8.3 together and slapped the corruption rotation in there for good measure and made a big old blue post about it. If you pop on over there, you can look at the fixed rotation of corruption effects available from the vendor. This would have been nice before the entire rotation already passed. Sites like Wowhead already had this information ready to go, but now that we know it's on a fixed rotation, I guess it's okay to tell us that it's on a fixed rotation? That's honestly pretty annoying. Lots of players were concerned about saving for the right corruption ever since this vendor went live. If they just gave us the list right from the get-go, everyone could have saved for the correct week and reset without ever having to worry about buying one corruption over another. If you spent your echoes on some good corruptions on reset and something popped up the next reset that you also wanted, that could feel kind of bad. Giving us a list at the start would have been the next best thing to just giving us access to every corruption. But hey, at least we have the list now, right? If you want to know when your chosen corruption will come up again, at least we have a few sources and tables to look at to ensure you know when it will be available. This page also includes some older updates like changing legendary cloak quests to only require a single horrific vision run, but specifically mentions that we won't see any additional changes to the catcher mechanic for malefic cores and the extra corruption resistance that you can obtain past rank 15 on your cloak. If you didn't know about this, you can get one malefic core if you're up to date and current with the progress. I believe the max corruption resistance as of this week is 89, so if your cloak doesn't say 89 corruption resistance, you might be a bit behind. If you are behind, you can get 2 malefic cores, one from a horrific vision full clear and one from N'Zoth on any difficulty, to help you catch up. With a max of 2 cores available in any week, it's still going to take you a long time to catch up if you haven't been playing too much in 8.3, or if you just want to get an alt up to speed. Getting alts caught up with this stuff can take a very long time, especially if you don't have the time to get both a N'Zoth kill and a horrific vision run done every week. I know a lot of players have been asking for better catch-ups on this system, but we won't see anything for now. Would you like to see some extra malefic cores become available from other areas of the game, or do you think 2 per week is working out quite well already? But that's all the news we have for this video. Quite a bit to talk about when you consider where we are in the expansion. Usually at this point it's all about the next expansion, so Shadowlands and the Alpha, but it looks like they're getting Battle for Azeroth ready for a grand send-off into the afterlife, and we'll all be along for the ride. I think we will probably see a shift towards beta very soon as well. All of the leveling zones are in, so we're just waiting on the More Zone and then a few quests to patch up the transition between areas, and we're good to go. So I would keep an eye on the alpha news over the next couple of weeks. Beta should be just around the corner. What do you think of the auction house changes? Should add-ons like TSM and Auctioneer be limited to make the auction house a smoother experience for everyone else? Or are they imposing more restrictions where they just aren't needed? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. If you want to explore the alpha, or maybe even run a couple of dungeons with us live, you can find us over at twitch.tv/KalaniTV. We stream every Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday and Saturday at 12 PM PST, and watching the stream and coming to say hi is one of the best ways you can support the channel right now, and if you ever wanted to be included in the list of names at the end of every video, a subscription on Twitch is the easiest way to make that happen. You also get a free sub to any Twitch channel if you have an Amazon Prime too, so be sure to take advantage of that. A big thank you to everyone who has subscribed on Twitch already and to our supporters over on Patreon. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you want to join these lovely guys and gals, well, now you know how. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.